Rescrewed. The $1,000 light bulb rescrewed. John.
Woo! Master and welcome guests. So how many of you out there have ever dreamed of owning a sports car or a BMW or a Mercedes? Dan, some of you?
Absolutely.
Well, I happen to own a BMW sports car, and today I'm going to give you some tips on what you need to do when you get into the situation of owning an expensive luxury vehicle. So I remember the first time I saw my car, the car of my dreams. I was driving a taxi cab in the city of Chicago downtown here in River North. It was 2003, and I saw the new 2003 BMW Z4. Now I remember I was right downtown here, and I saw this car. It was a low-slung two-seater pulled before me, and I was like, this car is like so gorgeous. If I ever make some money, maybe I'll buy the car. So a few years later, I had made a little bit of money in stocks and saved my money, and I saw this car listed used in the paper for about 20 grand. It was probably listed for 40, and I already had a car, and I figured, you know, if I trade it in, I can probably swing it. So I went to see the car, and I bought my dream car. I remember I drove it back to my mom's house, put it in the parking lot. I was just like, Mom, look at my car. I picked up my friend, my Greek waiter friend, big guy, John Drugas. He got in my little two-seater. His head kind of popped out like, you know, those big guys in little cars. This is my friend, so you can see. And we're driving around the north side, and he couldn't believe that I bought this car. It was like, I don't know if any of you have seen this car, but it's, even today, people will like say, wow, what a nice car. But back then, it was really nice. It was like you pull up at a red light, and old guy would give you a thumbs up, or little kids would wave at you. You felt like you're a celebrity or something. And for the first year or two, everything was great. And the first time I really noticed my car was different than everyone else's is I was downtown again in the loop on the Kennedy, and a little light popped up in my dash. And I was like, wow, what's that? It looks like a tire or something. So it turned out I had a flat tire. And not being much of a mechanic, I did know that my car had run flat tires, which means you don't carry a spare. You can drive on a flat. So I had a flat. I had the warranty, 3-year warranty, which is something you should have. But I knew that wouldn't cover the tires. So I went to the dealer. I'm like, what? This run flat, I don't know, it's broken. And he said, well, if you need a new tire to run flats, usually you can't fix a run flat. And I'm like, you have to get a new tire every time you get a flat? They're like, basically, yes. And I think it was like $300 or $400, and I was like, God, I hope this never happens again. And so anyway, after that, BMWs and a lot of expensive luxury cars, they're crafted so, the engineering is so good that there's a sensor for everything. So anytime something would go wrong in my car, a little sensor would pop up in the dash. Sure enough, short time later, another sensor popped up. And it was for, I don't know, catalytic converter or something. And after that, another sensor would pop up. And although I had a warranty, many times these things weren't covered. And it got to be that these little sensors, and every time I had to go to the dealer, it would cost me an arm and a leg, maybe $500 or $700. Shortly after that, my warranty, it ran out. So although my car was great and I really liked it, I was getting to understand that owning a BMW or a luxury vehicle is different than other cars, and you really have to know what you're getting into. And by this time I had, over the years, had to, like I said, take it to the dealer to get a number of things fixed. It was always double or triple of a regular car. It gave me, I started being afraid to drive the car in some ways, because I was always afraid that some light was going to pop up in the dash, and God knows what would it cost. So a few years ago, I was driving, some of you know I do antiquing for a living, and I was driving to a western suburb, and a little dot popped up in the dash, and my heart just stopped. I was like, oh my God, what is it? So I pulled over to the side of the road, and I Googled the BMW Z4, the dash, and it turned out that I needed a light bulb. So I was like, relief light bulb, I could probably do that myself. So I get home, I go to the Now parts store, I'm looking for the light bulbs, and I'm looking at my car, and I'm like, I can't do this, there's nobody to get to it. Now learning, I didn't go to the dealer, I went to a mechanic that I go to, and he looked at it and he said, well, you have a xenon headlights, really nice headlights. They're specialized headlights. You have to take this to the dealer. We can't do it. It's a specialized process. And I was like, really? So I go to the dealer. I live downtown. I went to the BMW dealer downtown. I took my car and I said, you know, my light bulb needs to be fixed. And also the light bulb has a module behind it. So the lady at the desk, she looked at it right away. And she's like, yes, your light bulb needs to be replaced. Also the module behind it. And it's probably going to be about $1,200. And I was like, $1,200? Are you kidding me for a light bulb? And she's like, oh, by the way, I can see that the light that's good, that's probably going to wear out soon too. And I was just like, I couldn't believe it. So I draw my car, I started walking home, and then I started Googling BMW Z4 headlights. And I was like, this can't be true. So I started seeing Z4 headlights, 200, 300, this, that. And then I started thinking again, maybe I'll call some mechanics. And I found a mechanic, a foreign sports car mechanic in Logan Square, and I told him, I have a xenon headlight, a Z4, I need a headlight. Right now it's at the dealer. I'm like, well, what would you charge to fix it? He's like, I could probably do it for less than $100. So immediately I ran back to the BMW dealer. I got there maybe 20 minutes after I dropped it. And I ran up to the lady and I said, you know, stop the process. I felt like the graduate, and then maybe the graduate when he's trying to stop the wedding, I was like, give me my car back. I don't want to get it done here. I want my car back. And she's like, okay. And I could tell this had probably happened at this dealer before. Because people, after a while, they get smart. So I took my car, took it to the mechanic in Logan Square. He's like, yeah, I could probably do it in a half hour. Why don't you go get a cup of coffee? I went, got a cup of coffee down the road, walked back, and sure enough, within a half hour, my car, the light bulb was fixed for $50. And at this point, I realized people that fix their cars at a BMW dealership are getting ripped off. Now, the fact is, some can probably afford it, but many can't. So over the years, I learned many lessons about the BMW, or probably a Mercedes or any other car. If you're gonna go into a situation like this, you have to be prepared to do it the right way. You can definitely get the car of your dreams and financially make it work, but you need to be smart. You should always start off with a warranty, then after the warranty expires, don't feel the need to always run to the dealer. Find a good mechanic and try to solve your problems that way. And hopefully some of the advice I've given you will make your experience of owning your next sports car a little easier.